Hello and welcome. This is the ProQuest Final Classic Constructed, where we have got the old school versus the new school. It is Chane versus Katsu. I'm Ian, right time Kinderdine. With me is Carol. Carol, how exciting is this final?
This is amazing. I'm really stoked that you mentioned that it's the old school versus new school. We have McKay on Chane, and we have Wynton Bedford piloting Katsu. And yeah, there's been a lot of chains in this top 8, 5 chains, and only the one Katsu. So it's great to see that, the old school hero made it all the way to the finals.
Absolutely, and Wynton having to battle his way through the new heroes in the quarterfinals. He took on Nick Butcher on Prism and managed to come away with the win for that. And then in the semifinals, he took on Oliver Berry on a Chane deck. I'm not sure if it's the same build, so he may have a bit of an advantage because he has just played Chane, whereas Dan McKay also just coming off the back of a Chane matchup. We have 3 chains and a Katsu in the top 4.
And here we go. So there's that first point of damage. Dan McKay had the option to choose whether to go first or second. He opted to go second. So here we see Wynton pressuring the Kodachis straight away. Dan must be loving his hand because he is determined to keep those cards. He did have to defend that E-Strike for 5.
Yeah, of course, that E-Strike is one that you have to respect. Even on the first turn. Let's see Chane here. Let's see how Dan goes, if he's going to go straight into making shackles or if he's going to take a couple of turns to sort of set up and maybe try and scrape in some damage against the Katsu player. Of course, Wynton playing a very defensive Katsu as we saw in the semifinals.
Yeah, so one giveaway is the Breeze Rider boots. He is not running scalers, which just shows you how much he's valuing that one defense point on that piece of equipment. And see,
speaking of which, he's throwing it out there just to block the blade, which is a good move here.
Yeah. And this could be a giveaway that maybe he wants to use it sooner rather than later. But here I feel that it's important to note the pitching that Dan is doing. So he pitched to Seeds of Agony, he pitched to Riftbind and a Mutated Mass. All 3 of those cards have Blood Debt, and it's just an incredible play to, prepare for the future turns, those final shackle turns.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a big thing about playing a chain deck. You do need to be setting up the bottom of your deck for your end game, because obviously soul shackling, you're gonna take cards off the top. You're gonna run out of your deck quicker than your opponent is, and when you do, you have to go off. And here we go, classic ninja here, just Kodachi. Dan taking the first one, putting I believe he put his hat in front of the second one, or no?
He did. So just bringing it in now. Yeah. So he is. It's kind of showing you that he's respecting that mask trigger. So he decided to defend that second Kodachi. But see, we had an interesting play. Those Breeze Rider boots got popped. The Hurricane technique now has go again, and Wynton is utilizing that by pushing through some extra damage with that fine center to finish off.
And that is the thing about the Breeze Riders of boots. It gives all cards with combo go again for the turn. So probably not as potent as it could have been, but it did get through some extra damage, which is solid for Wynton there.
Yeah, red Riftbind gets hit by that yellow Flick Flag, which is not really what Dan was hoping for, I don't think.
Yeah, and then following it up with the CNC, of course, getting the bonus off the Flick Flag.
So the Red Pounding Gale gets +2 defense thanks to the Flick Flag, so that damage is fully prevented. Even though Wynton was not threatened because he didn't really have an arsenal for that Command and Conquer there.
Just Wynton really really valuing his life. I think that is a smart move in the Chane matchup because, of course, Chane does take a little while to get going. But if you bleed out some early damage that you could have prevented, it could come back to haunt you in the long run.
Yeah, so he's really, still on 40 life, still hasn't taken a single point of damage, and I think it's he's, as you mentioned, he's doing his best to mitigate any damage coming his way. And Dan really now has to think outside the box on how to push through damage versus such a defensive play style. So
there we are. That's gonna threaten some damage coming through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's an interesting way to split the damage. So you have 1 point of damage coming from the Seeds of Agony, which Wynton is happy to just prevent with his tunic counter.
I like that move. That is a solid move.
And that's the thing. He's just still on 40, and the E-Strike is coming for 5. Which is 5 is just that annoying point where you can't really prevent it with one single defense reaction even. So
that's right.
Yeah, is Wynton going to commit 2 cards to blocking here? And he's deciding to just take some damage here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind that. Oh, though, what a follow-up. Soul
Reaping. And that has go again thanks to the Soul Shackles. So Dan banishes a yellow Riftbind to get himself 1 resource. And he's going to be coming in again after that.
Yeah, and I like that move because he's banished the Riftbind, which I would imagine is probably going to be the follow-up card after the Soul Reaping, which is going to get the bonus off the seeds having been played. Mm-hmm. So this is a solid turn here by Dan, getting some damage through, which is nice.
Yeah, and that Riftbind is coming in for 3 thanks to the seeds. So I think Dan must be pretty happy because he finally chipped away some points of damage there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that mental breakthrough, right? It's like if you are staring at 40 life and it's 5 or 6 turns into the game, you're like, what have I done?
Exactly.
So I think this is solid. Dan will be happy with that turn.
Yeah, and he's saving that mutated mass, so he will be taking that 1 point of blood debt. Life loss, but yeah, this is why Wynton was happy to take some points of damage. He's coming in with a Command and Conquer.
It's going to be at least 2 cards because I'm sure Dan's going to want to protect that arsenal.
And it's that one slight weakness of the Chane deck is a lot of these non-attack action cards do defend for 2, and it's just that kind of awkward number that sometimes can really take Chane players by surprise.
Ooh. Double seeds.
Ooh, what a
unhallowed rites. That is not a bad shackle turn there by Dan. So we see 1 seeds coming in.
And this time Wynton does not have that counter on the tunic, so I think Dan is just hoping that this is just going to chip away through for some points of damage here. Yeah, so unhallowed rites coming in for 4. It does let Dan refuel his deck by putting a non-attack action card on the bottom of his deck.
Which is very important because not only does it get 1 more card back into the deck, and as we see here, Dan is putting that seeds that he has played because, of course, that seed should be in his graveyard once it resolves. And so that is a legal play. And that is a solid move because obviously seeds are a very important card late game. Yeah, I like that move there by Dan.
Yeah, and seeds, and in particular, I feel like seeds, the yellow version is really good because it procs of a Riftbind, but it also has that pitch value, so if you end up drawing it, it's not like a dead card in your hand.
Absolutely. And meet and greet here.
Yes, so Dan is stoked that Wynton took that 1 piece of arcane damage because now meet and greet has go again.
Oh, big blocks here. Throwing an E-Strike in front of there. Now, Mutated Mass, not getting huge value off Mutated Mass here. But he gets a Command and Conquer out of Wynton's hand, so he won't be unhappy with that. That is possibly the best that could have come from that slightly weaker...
Trading Mutated Mass for a Command and Conquer? I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And yeah, Wynton just doing his classic tick up tunic and pass. He's just happy to be on the defense.
Yeah, very reminiscent. This very reminiscent of the Ninja Turtle build that Sasha played at the first Auckland Calling. Very defensive. Going into that long end game, and which. It was successful for him in the semi-final. Chane can have some explosive turns, so it's yet to be seen whether or not this is the right play. But clearly Wynton has got a game plan that he's sticking to, and in the finals, do what got you to the dance, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And I think it's really interesting to see how Dan is going to maneuver around these flick flags, these defend for 3 cards. He is going to get fueled. His banish zone is going to keep on getting fueled by those soul shackles turn after turn. So you'd expect his turns to just kind of get progressively bigger. And if he's already managing to sneak in those points of damage, and, here we see Unhold Rights again, netting him another non-attack action for the late game. This one's coming in for 7 thanks to the Howl from Beyond. And that annoying point of arcane damage from Seeds of Agony as well. So I think Dan is doing well at trying to chip away at Wynton's total by kind of splitting the arcane damage and physical damage. Is just that kind of annoying numbers to deal with. But Wynton's doing a great job by just, I'll use my 2 cards and I'll defend all the physical. I might take the 1 arcane or not.
And that's the dimensional crossroads that Dan drops at the end of that turn, which could be very important. And it's a tricky card to keep around, but if you can, it can do a lot of work in this game.
Yeah.
Flusterfist, this is just classic ninja, right? Kodachi followed up with Flusterfist for 4.
Yeah, 0 cost, attacks for 4. Just such a massive chunk of a life total. And here Dan, he banished his second Crossroads. That's going to be painful.
And is that a Moravian Skies that he also banished?
Yeah.
Oh, that is tough.
So there's a Crossroads, there's a Red Plunder Run in there. Those are some really powerful cards.
And that is 5 shackles and only getting 2 usable Blood Debt cards, which is tough. Although one of them is Shadow Versus, so we see here Dan banishing Seeds to give Ursa's go again, which is solid because it means he's at least going to have a little bit more gas this turn.
Yeah, and those Crossroads are going to keep on pinging away at Wynton's life total. But he's happy to pitch a blue. He has the blue flick flag to stop all the damage coming from the Shadow of Ursa. And here we have a Seeds.
And that is such a tough one for Dan to see. That the blue flick flag really is only there to usually help your next block, whereas if you can get full value of blocking an attack with the blue flick flag, it just seems really good for Wynton.
Yeah, because Dan, on one side he just wants to pressure Wynton as much as he can, but at the same time, something like the blue flick flag, if you attack with Nebula Blade, that just gets defended for 5. Yeah. If you have another solid attack, that's just a value for Wynton, but at the same time, you don't want Wynton to keep cards in hand because of those Kodachis, those potential Command and Conquers and potential mask triggers. So yeah, he's trying to do his best at splitting that damage. But
and we see Dan here with the Riftbind. It's probably an easy block for Wynton. But really trying to get everything out of his banish zone to keep those Crossroads around.
Yeah, so Wynton didn't defend with a combo card, but yeah, Fate
so
Foreseen shuts down that Nebula Blade.
Yeah,
so,
and also E-Strike has a block for 3, so super solid.
Yeah, absolutely. No points of damage taken, and he's happy to just do his usual thing and just pass. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, let's see those soul shackles. Ooh, Command and Conquer, Shadow Puppetry, Out of War. Those are some heavy hitters.
That is heartbreaking for Dan.
At least the second half of those banishes was pretty solid.
Yeah, but that's 2 turns in a row that he's 50% whiffed, and that is tough. Like really, the Chane player needs to get that full advantage. Yeah, I like this move. Plunder on here, threatening a draw. So, I mean, not that Wynton's been particularly afraid to block stuff, but it does make him have to possibly put an extra card in front
and it's
of
just
stuff.
that it is that annoying attack for 5. He can't just use a defense reaction for this. He has to consider blocking with 2 cards. But yeah, I mean, the Plunder Run, it puts Wynton in a pretty tricky spot because any attack followed by the Shadow of Ursa for Dan has the same on-hit. So as this isn't just the Shadow of Ursa that has that on-hit of drawing a card.
Yeah.
So,
and we see that there's another Shadow of Ursa.
Is that a flick flag?
And is, I mean, highly likely with that. I believe it's something ludicrous like 17 defensive pumps in Wynton's deck, or at least in his 80 cards. So and there we see that's sink below, is it?
Yeah. So Wynton decided to just take that 1 point of damage. At the end of the day, even if Dan draws cards,
and you see you see that he pitched the blue flick flag to pay for the to stop the arcane.
Yeah.
And then this again, if it hits, but again it's not as threatening.
It is only 2 points of damage.
Yeah.
But
there we are.
Straight flick flagged.
And now, I mean, I know he wants to keep the crossroads around, but I don't know, maybe Dan's better off just leaving these 2 cards here for a bigger next turn.
Yeah, it just looks like Wynton is really prepared with those not only highly defensive value cards, but also those blue pitches that stop the arcane damage.
Yeah.
So he's kind of battling it on both fronts.
All right. So this Riftbind's going to get +1 off the Plunder Run as well. So
yeah, and the seeds. So
and the seeds. So +2.
It is. I think it's just a blue one, and Wynton does have the flick flack. So
yeah.
It's still kind of, it's the
this turn against any other character would have been amazing, right? It just happens to run into a defensive Katsu, and it's just not as powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here we see that the Dan is really trying to keep his crossroads alive. He ends up with a card in hand, which just shows that, the turn wasn't fully maximized. He did sneak in a few points of damage.
Oh, that's another Art of War gone. Gorganian turn. That's an interesting card in this deck as well. And an E-Strike. Again, that's the 3rd turn in a row that over half his banishes have missed. And that is just absolutely backbreaking for the Chane player.
Yeah, I think Dan is really trying to work out a way to pressure Wynton, because now, though
that's a lot of threats gone out of his deck as well, because and there's no getting that stuff back from the banish zone. You can't remembrance it back or anything. So it just makes this uphill battle even steeper.
Yeah, and he is going for that dimensional crossroads route, which I think at least, as long as he plays non-attack actions and attack actions from his banish zone, at least that threatens that arcane damage.
Yeah. But
Wynton just seems to have that blue pitch at all times. So,
here it's blue pitch, time stamp potion. And it's like nothing more perfect in this matchup than just, pitching in and getting rid of the arcane damage, which is great.
And there's that second crossroads.
Wow, second crossroads.
Yeah.
And another seeds.
Yeah, so
a howl. So this is going to be a fairly big Riftbind coming up this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's 3 base power plus 3 from the howl, and the 4 non-attack action cards played, so I believe this is coming in for 10.
Yeah, that is a big turn, and that's what Dan has been trying to get to, but just imagine if he had a couple more of the non-Blood Deck cards that he banished with Blood Deck cards, this could have been even bigger. But he does. I mean,
he did sneak in a few points of damage, I believe.
Yeah,
some arcane damage snuck in, and that 1 point from Riftbind.
But so much work to do. To do just
seven cards banished.
7 cards.
These have to hit.
All right, so now
that's pretty good.
This is a far better turn. This is far better.
Yeah.
So here we go. Coming in with the seeds.
I believe this potentially.
Soul beat. Solid. Second seeds, third seeds.
Yeah, so I believe this is the first turn that Dan pitched. At the very start of the game, he pitched a red Riftbind, I think a red Seeds of Agony, and that mutated mass.
Yeah.
So
that's how quick he's been going through his deck. Yeah.
Yeah. So he only has, I think, 7 cards, I believe. So he's really, the life totals might look like it's a very even game, but the way Chane operates, it really puts you on that really fast clock.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's already at 7 shackles here. Like, he's not got a lot of time left with his deck, basically.
Yeah. Not only that, he's
another
in
big
a position.
Rift This is solid.
He's in a position that he really wants to get those cards out of his banish zone, keep those dimensional crossroads in play. Because now, if he manages to play a non-attack and an attack action card from his banish zone, then that is threatening 4 arcane damage total. So, yeah. So we see Wynton is preventing the arcane damage and trying to stop the Riftbind as much as he can, but... Yeah. Is Dan gonna play out that mutated mass?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so tricky. I feel like the dilemma is with Crossroads. I feel like it doesn't let you build up that massive blood dead turn because it's just gonna die off if you take a blood dead damage.
I mean, at some point though, right? You gotta wonder if perhaps the smarter idea was just let those Crossroads die to set up for that bigger final blow turn.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is solid.
Yeah, and the mutated mass I believe is only coming in for 2, as both of the pitch cards
are the same value, and then we see the Snapdragon. So, there we go. That's
massive.
Turn.
That's massive. A red Flick Flack. Oh, Dan would be super stoked with that play. He's keeping his dimensional crossroads alive. I think he dealt 10 damage.
Put Wynton's.
Yeah. But he is getting that damage through, and he got quite a lot of card advantage there with that CNC.
This is going to be it, though, right? This is his deck.
No. That's a lot of misses.
That is ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got that big turn, but this follow up, and now it's really tough for him, right? Because he's got the 4 cards. He's got the 2 in the banish zone, and then that's it. Then he just has to deal with what comes next.
And demigons are going to be so hard to get both without Snapdragon Scalers. I guess you can shackle them out. But, I think Dan really needs to push through a lot of damage with not that many cards. Yeah. So I think despite being 10 life ahead, he's in a really, really tricky situation.
Yeah.
And Wynton does what Wynton does best, is just defend.
Block out,
make sure he doesn't leak too much damage. And this is just a really tough spot for Dan at this stage. He only has 2 cards. He has that Spellblade Assault blue in this pitch that he's just going to draw back. Yeah. So he's really running out of threats and way to deal damage.
The other problem Dan's facing that we haven't talked about is that he's running the husk. So at some point, he's either going to have to block with it or he's going to go below 13, and then that's just another point of blood debt that he's going to be taking.
And I guess Husk isn't very good at getting chipped away with Kodachis.
No, it seems like bad value to have to block a Kodachi with Husk.
I feel like another interesting...
There we go. The crossroads are gone.
Yeah. He's running out of options. But we've seen all of Dan's deck at this stage. Yeah. And there's one thing that I think is really interesting to note is that he isn't running an Eclipse.
No.
So he hasn't banished an Eclipse. He hasn't pitched it because we would have seen it, and of course you can't defend with it. So that is a a kind of build that kind of, I don't know if it ever would have helped him this game. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, then again, the way that his soul shackles came down, I'm not sure he would have actually had too many turns where it would have been even possible to get the clips off. So, So I mean, I like. Oh,
red unmovable. That's
huge.
A red flick flag into red unmovable. And I think these are the cards that Wynton has been putting on the bottom of his deck. I believe that he's been sinking those. He's been using those Fate Foreseen.
He also E-strikes as well. And he added that early E-strike as well. And here we go. And this is all Dan can do is make a soul shackle, swing with the blade.
Yeah, 1 point of arcane, 1 point of physical against Wynton's 4-card hand.
Yeah.
So
and like Wynton, while he's behind on life now, he's just so far ahead because he has the full deck and he knows that Dan has only got so much he can do each turn.
So Dan's trying to defend, even though Wynton doesn't have the mask, but he's still just trying to protect his life total. And that's a red leg tap.
And this is where,
and he's with that single ancestral empowerment
this is where he can Katsu if he wants to.
Yeah, he can.
I think he's searching.
I believe he only runs one red rising trust.
I think he's already in. I think it's already in the bin. Yeah,
and I think that's what he's looking for there. But he's going for it anyway.
He can just go get any 0 for 4, right?
Yeah,
which his deck has plentiful.
Yeah. And what is he going to go for?
I mean, I'm guessing a Fluster Fist or something here.
Pounding Gale.
Oh, Pounding Gale,
wow. Of course he has the Pounding Gale.
Yeah, and there's
perfect target. I guess that at least it's a perfect target for Dan to defend up with that husk.
I mean, and Dan on 17, he probably, if he took that, the husk would have cracked anyway. So, but now Dan effectively has to deal with a third Kodachi, right? Like one of his own making, and like 2 Kodachis and a husk. That is tough.
Yeah, so we just see that 1 Rune Chant, 1 from Nebula Blade. And Dan just can't even defend anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just has 1 point of defense on that grasp.
Yeah.
He's got the 2 cards in his hand.
And we go Kodachi.
Yeah.
Kodachi takes the second one with the grasp and then has to take the Torrent.
Oof, that's 5. That's a big chunk gone. Yeah, it's not looking good.
And then Dan, I mean, this is just that ninja death spiral now, right? It's like just a matter of time.
Yeah, I feel like this is the classic also just Chane in general. Once you've kind of had those big spike shackle turns, it's really hard to do anything unless you've been really paying attention to what you've been pitching, to what you've been banishing.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a game state that in Ursa really helps because you're happy making shackles because you don't have anything to banish anyway, right? Yeah. So that's like 6 points of damage.
And here we go. Just Kodachi, Soul Bead. Oh. Just insult to injury, putting that time snap out.
Just being like, you've got a Spectra for me, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
And Dan just rinse and repeat what he's been doing every turn so far.
Yeah. Oh, and the Tunic to prevent the Rune Chant.
Yeah.
Wow. Tough. Yeah, really tough spot.
And I mean...
This is
of course, the husk also doing 1 damage there, and Dan's just it's the slow demise to the grave here.
Yeah.
1 and then Soul Bead Strike, and there we are. There's the concession, and Dan knew it. That is well done to Wynton. Really showing that Ninja Turtle defensive Katsu really has some game against these new heroes. So well done to Wynton here. Congratulations to Dan for making to the final, but Yeah, if those soul shackles had fallen differently, this may have been a different game. But that is the way it rolls sometimes. So well done to both players, and we hope you enjoyed the match. Let's thank you from me, and thanks from Carol.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. It was a really great game to watch, and it just shows you that you can defend the onslaught from a Chane player and come out on top. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and catch you another time.